It's your favorite manifesting cousin, Neira, and welcome to the Manifest with Me podcast, where we will be discussing mindset, manifestation, and money, with a little ratchet behavior mixed in from time to time. If you haven't already, please make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Neira_X. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Neira the G.O.A.T, and visit my website, NeiraTheGoat.com. The Manifest with Me, where thoughts become things digital course has officially launched. If you're interested in learning how to manifest more, shift your paradigms, and overcome any limiting beliefs, this is the perfect course for you. Check out my website, NeiraTheGoat.com, to learn more about it. I'm so happy and grateful that you've taken a moment to listen to this podcast, and I hope you find this week's episode super helpful and insightful. Make sure to leave me a 5-star review and comment on this episode and shout me out on social media. I'd love to hear your feedback. So without further ado, let's get into this week's episode. Hey peeps, welcome back to another episode. Listen, I had started recording this podcast and stopped with one subject. I started with another subject and stopped again. And I just want to break away from being so stuffy about all of the heavy topics. Last week, I have these really cool epiphanies that come through and they seem kind of heavy sometimes. But today, I just want to relax and have fun. Like, it's a beautiful day outside. All of my windows are open right now as I record this, and life just feels fun, funny, and free. And I think something to remember on your journey of manifestation is like we can get so hard up by wanting our desires to manifest, wanting our goals to get accomplished, and all of that stuff. And we're constantly wanting to put this brute force on making it happen when we really just need to take a step back. Take a step back, breathe, and have some fucking fun. So today, this podcast episode is all about welcoming in the woo-woo. This is where a lot of my friends, I lose them because they're like, Neira, you're crazy. You do all kind of weird ass shit. But I wanted to just give you some tips and tricks and let you in on my life and my way of thinking and my process as it actually relates to manifesting and not making it so serious, just really having fun with it. I had 3 techniques that I wanted to talk to you guys about, but I really feel like as I just let the spirit use me and I talk, that more stuff is going to come out. So, first things first. Like, life is supposed to be enjoyed. Like, life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. Of course, you're gonna have to think and plan and do all of that stuff. But we got sent here into this time, space, reality to learn and to experience and to really have a good time while learning the lessons. Some of the lessons are hard. Don't get me wrong, but it's being able to find the joy and cultivate the joy in the midst of all of this stuff. So when I first got into manifestation and the law of attraction, like I mentioned in a previous episode and stuff, I found out about The Secret. And on The Secret, they mentioned these little games that are little techniques that you can do that I kind of started incorporating into my life. So whenever I'm driving, they talk about manifesting a car park, and I think that if you kind of start off doing some of these smaller exercises and just really make them fun, it helps you to build up the energetic momentum for you to manifest what you may consider to be a larger manifestation, right? So we'll start with the first one. It was like manifesting a close parking spot. And so anytime I'm going to the mall or I'm going to the grocery store, personally, now that I'm a little older, I really don't mind walking. But every now and again, I'll play the game with myself and I'll set the intention before arriving to the mall parking lot or the grocery store parking lot. And I'm like, I'm going to get the first spot after the handicap spots so I don't have to walk all the way down so I can get in the store. And I just think about that. I imagine myself just pulling right in. And a lot of the times it happens. Sometimes I have to circle the parking lot a couple of times, but it's something that never takes a super long time to do. So I started doing that more and more. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll set the intention for the day that I want to get a free coffee. And sometimes it'll happen when I'm in line at Starbucks, or I'll just say it out loud like as I'm getting dressed. And I might show up to work one day and one of my coworkers offers to buy my coffee that day. It's really so crazy how it happens. But the whole point is to visualize what it is that you're trying to manifest and really get into the feeling of having it already. Neville Goddard talks about the law of assumption, which is pretty much assuming that whatever it is that you're desiring to have is already there. If you're already into the woo woo shit, you are probably familiar with that there are different parallel realities that are all happening at the same time as the one that we're currently in right now. Because as we know and study the law of attraction and the universal law of vibration, everything vibrates at a certain frequency. So even certain experiences, people that we meet, things that we actually want to attract into our lives and have, they all have a certain frequency, and all it is a matter of us matching ourselves up to whatever that frequency of the thing that we're trying to manifest to be able to have it or attract it into our lives. So this is where it gets into like quantum physics and quantum leaping into different realities and all of that. And I'll make a different podcast episode about all that stuff because it gets really woo woo and technical. But for the sake of this particular podcast, back to Neville Goddard, he created the law of assumption, assuming that whatever it is that you want, you already have it, right? And kind of living there. So when it comes to manifesting a cup of coffee, or a new parking spot, is all about getting into the feeling that you already have it, being able to visualize it, but also energetically being able to feel like you already have what it is that you're trying to manifest. My top three, and like I said, I could actually talk about more, but my top three manifestation tools and techniques would probably really have to be visualization. I think visualization is probably like my visualization, and probably auto suggestion, hypnosis, meditations. I think those would be my top two because I feel like visually and auditory, I'm a learner of both. Like I think I'm both a visual learner and an audio learner, auditory learner, if I'm saying that right. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. So I prefer to see things, but I also prefer to hear things. And I feel like I've had the most success when it comes to visualization tools, as well as like the sleep hypnosis and guided meditations that I've made for myself. So I love vision boards. I think I made my first vision board. Damn, I've been making vision boards since like 2011, now that I think about it. And I update it fairly frequently, especially now that I have a printer in my home. I'm always like, I used to keep a lot of magazines and stuff like that, but now I just kind of print things from the internet. Like I'll screenshot something from Instagram. A lot of people use Pinterest, but I don't really fuck with Pinterest like that. But I'll screenshot something from Instagram, and I'll just print it out and put it on my vision board. And as you know, as you grow and evolve and you accomplish certain things and manifest certain things, the vision has to change. And that's a keynote point in this thing. When it comes to your visualizations, your manifestations, don't get complacent. When you have been able to call in whatever it is that you're looking for, there's always more to do. And that's not to say that you're ungrateful with whatever it is that you have or whatever it is that you've manifested, but you've always got to go back and tweak the vision, tweak the goal, make it in addition to, because we're constantly growing and evolving, right? So I love vision boards. You could get like a little cork board or whatever, some magazines, some pictures. Some people like to actually use words, and some people like photos. I use a mixture of both. So, your vision board is whatever it is that you've decided that your higher self wants in this lifetime. And the beautiful thing is, like I said, so you have to always you put it in a place that you're gonna always look at it. Mine right now is currently on top of my chest of drawers. But I used to have it hanging up on a wall at one point, a wall in my closet. I've had it all over the place, where I know that I'm gonna always see it. And it surprises you when you go and you like take a glance at it and you realize like a lot of the things have come to pass. I remember it wasn't long after I worked at my previous um, job that I realized a lot of the things that I had put out on my vision board had come to pass. And I just remember standing and looking at it in awe. Um, and then I was like, God, thank you. And we upped the vision board. I've taken my vision board a step further. Like Erica Badu says, I'm kind of like an analog girl living in a digital world. So there are some things that I do just like have to feel and touch and make my connection with the senses of being a part of it. But then also, like, I'm very into the digital world, and I have created a digital vision board. Now, again, some people use like um websites and things like Pinterest or apps like Pinterest to create theirs. I personally don't. I just can't get into Pinterest now that I'm making this podcast. I'm realizing how much I have a disdain for Pinterest. But anyway, I have a a album on my cell phone, and I've entitled that album in my photo gallery called My Real Life. And like I said, it's kind of like an updated version for me of what a vision board is, but I can have it handheld. And anytime I'm having moments of when I'm feeling a little frustrated, or like, oh my God, why isn't this manifesting fast enough? Or we all get into those lower vibrational moments where we're not probably practicing as much gratitude as we should. The reason I titled this photo album My Real Life, because not only do I have pictures of things that I still want to accomplish, things that I still want to manifest, but I've also have pictures of really cool shit that I've been able to do. So like whenever I was on the red carpet, I've got like some pictures and videos from there. Whenever I traveled like out of the country, I have pictures and video from there. But I also have, like I said, those screenshots of the analytics of the type of sales that I want to have in my different sectors of the business. I also have maybe videos or pictures of luxury cars that I desire to have, and I go through it, and a lot of the time it makes me laugh. So I'll let you in on a little secret. I remember listening to Bob Proctor once, and he was talking about if you want to manifest losing more weight or your dream body. He was like, get a picture of somebody whose body you admire, cut a picture of your head and put it on that person's body, and you look at it and you see yourself being whatever that weight is, whatever that shape is. And I thought it was so funny, but I'm so extra like that. So one of my goals, and I'm just putting it out there, being totally transparent, there is a particular area in Louisiana where I grew up at, and I want to put a Starbucks there. And I have been saying it for years. Like all of my really close friends know. And I found out about a specific program that I could possibly, get into to make that happen. Currently, in the particular spot, there's a business that resides there. But I know that God is going to work it out. So that's going to be my building, that's going to be my land, and that's where I'm going to have my Starbucks. So just recently, I think it was last week actually, I decided to get a picture of a Starbucks and just like a storefront of it. And I cropped myself into the picture, and I sent it to my two of my friends. I was like, listen, this is how I'm gonna look whenever they put me in the St. Charles Herald about opening up my Starbucks in the newspaper, when they post my picture in the newspaper about the young St. Charles Parish native Neira Hayden opened up a Starbucks here in blah blah blah, Louisiana. And I have my picture already. So I have that picture that I created in my real life album on my phone, and I look at it, and like, here's the thing. This is what I say when it comes to doing some of these techniques and just making it really fun. You've got to make it fun. And I look at that picture and I just bust out laughing, but it brings all the good feelings that will come whenever it does come actually into fruition. Another thing that I've done, and this shit actually works. You might want to stop, pause for a cause, and take some notes on this. So I decided this week, before I get into it, like one of my other things that I like to do is I write checks to myself. And long before I even had a checkbook because most people don't have checkbooks, but I would actually like write out all the details that go on a check on a blank piece of paper. And I would make fake checks like back in 2010, 2011. But then, you open up new accounts, they give you like the sample checkbook that you never use for whatever. And from there, I started writing checks to myself. But before I hop into that piece of it, I want to talk about just really being funny and silly with yourself. Um, I decided last July, that I was going to take a screenshot. I bank with Regions. I took a screenshot of an online banking. I just Googled online banking for Regions, and I took a screenshot of what it looks like on a mobile device. And what I've been doing is I've been making energetic deposits into my bank account, and I take the screenshot. You know how like if you're uploading a new Instagram story and you could choose from your photo gallery. So I'll take the screenshot that I have of the Regions online banking, and I go and I change the actual account balance with the text on the Instagram story. So, and this actually happened, guys, no cap. So July 7th, it was either July 7th or July 9th. I went in, I had made the screenshot, I go into the Instagram story, I make a deposit to myself for $11,777.44. Where I came up with that number, I don't know. Totally pulled it out of my ass. But I just decided like I want an additional $11,777.44 deposited into my account as soon as possible. Took a screenshot of it. Like I saved the photo because it's like you're creating your own photo in the Instagram story. I saved it. I added it into my gallery of my real life. And every night before bed, and it wasn't like every night, like every couple of nights. So whenever I thought about it, I would go through the my real life gallery in my photo gallery. And I would see the screenshot and I would just bust out laughing because, like, who the fuck does that? Like, when I tell you, sometimes when it comes to manifestation and the things that you do, the woo woo shit that you do, it's literally doing all of the things that nobody else is going to do. But whatever makes sense for you, whatever you deem right, whatever you deem holy and cool or whatever, you do it for yourself, right? So I made this screenshot and it tickles my soul so much. So I would look at it and just laugh and just be like, whatever. Well, literally like 20 days later, I get a deposit from something that I was waiting on, but it was actually more than what I anticipated it to be. And y'all, the total was $11,000, $11,331 and some change. And I got the deposit. I was like grateful for it because again, it was more than what I anticipated. But it wasn't until about a week or two later that I realized, oh my God, you deposited $11,000 into your energetic bank account. Y'all, I called my friend in the middle of the night and I was just cackling like a little kid because I was like, Monique, like you have to understand, I really just made this number up. I really wasn't expecting for this particular thing that I got the deposit from. I wasn't expecting to get that much more. I had a way lower amount in mind that I thought I was going to receive. But to almost have it down to the dollar of what I actually created lets you know, like, this shit is really real. So anyway, moving on. One of another tip that I like to do is to write checks to myself. So I've been writing checks to myself like for a very long time, probably since I saw The Secret back in 2010 or 2011, around that time. I write checks to myself, and I also turned a dollar bill into $100,000, and I turned a dollar bill into $1 million bill. So if you follow my YouTube channel, and if you don't, you should go and subscribe to it. It is Neira the G.O.A.T. But I talk about this story about the $100,000 bill um, in one of my YouTube videos, and how literally I made that $100,000 bill when I watched The Secret in 2010. I did not manifest $100,000 salary until about 9 years later, but it still happened, right? And there's a lot of other things that I could get into about limiting beliefs and blocks and all that stuff that probably was the reason for the delay. But it's the fact that I did it And it happened. And I think probably like a couple of years ago, I made the $1 million bill. But that $100,000 bill has been in every home that I lived in. I used to keep it on my ceiling above my bed. And my $1 million bill that I made, I would love to put it on my ceiling above my bed, but I don't have a ladder high enough for my ceiling. So it's on a mirror in here somewhere. But I used to make those dollar bills and pretty much manifest more money into my life that way. And then I started writing checks to myself. So here's a cool story about the checks. I've written many checks over the years, but I remember I was looking to attract a specific salary, right? Now, when I first got hired for this position, it was a salary range between this amount on the low end and this amount on the high end, right? And I didn't know what I was going to be awarded. So I I remember going through like my first however many days. I think it was like a 90-day type of situation, and then you get your actual salary. And I was getting ready to approach my 90 days, and I wasn't really sure about what I was going to get. And this, I need you guys to listen really closely to this part. So I made I thought about what I was currently getting paid. I came up with an idea for a salary amount. And then I divided it by 52 weeks. And then I had deducted what I thought the amount of taxes from that weekly salary would have been. And whenever I did that, I was like, oh, that's kind of like if I multiplied or doubled what I'm currently making with a little bit more. So that's how I came up with the number, right? So I wrote a check out to myself from my employer for that. That was going to be my awarded salary. Well, I put it underneath my pillow. Like I thought about it, and it's really all about getting into the feeling of having it already and calibrating yourself to the vibrational frequency of what it is that you want, right? So I put the check underneath my pillow and I slept with it, I think, for 3 days. And then I ended up getting awarded my salary, right? And my salary was this particular amount. And I'm not going to get into amounts and stuff like that, but let's just say it was like $77,000, right? And I remember whenever I got back home, I was really grateful. One, I was grateful to have the salary, but I remember sitting down on the edge of the tub when I got out of the shower, and I was like, dang, I really thought I was going to get more money. And I was just sitting there thinking about it because, again, whenever I got into this particular position, it was a salary range. It could be this at the low end or this at the high end. So I sat at the end of the tub and I was like, damn, I wish I would have like asked. Maybe I should counter. Maybe I should counter and ask for more money. And listen, it was like late at night. It might have been like 11 o'clock at night or something like that. And that day in particular, I had like cleaned the entire house up. I had like swept, mopped, all of that. At the time, my ex husband was asleep. The children were asleep, and I come out of the bathroom, and the way my old house was set up was like my master bath, of course, was attached to my bedroom, but there was like this little short hallway from the vanity space into the bedroom. And so I walk out of the shower, and in the middle of the floor, in that little hallway type of area, was a balled up piece of paper. And I pick it up. It's kind of weird. It's weird as fuck, actually, when I think back on it, because everybody was asleep and the house was spotless. And it was not there. Like, I literally did not see it walking into the shower. So I come out and I pick up the balled up piece of paper. I unwrinkle it. I go back into the bathroom. I sit on the edge of the shower. And it's the check that I wrote to myself. And, this is where it gets woo woo, but like, stay with me. So I got this little small voice, and I'm pretty sure it's my intuition, the Holy Spirit, whatever it is that you want to call it. And I looked at the weekly rate and I went back and I multiplied it by 52 weeks. And when I tell you, it was the exact number of the salary that was offered to me. And then the little voice reminded me, whenever it's time for you to have more, you don't go back to your employer and ask for more. You come back to the source from where this came from. Remember, you got exactly what you asked for. And I was just, well, shut me up, God. Just shut me up on the edge of the tub. Shut me up right now. because I literally got exactly what I asked for. And that's why when it comes to setting these intentions, whatever your woo-woo tricks are, or whatever the case may be, but when it comes to setting the intention for what it is that you want, what it is that you're trying to manifest, that you're like super specific. Because if I wanted more, I should have just asked for more. Like that's just how it goes, you know? So don't shortchange yourself. Don't shortchange yourself on the manifestation. You can always have whatever it is that you want because at the end of the day, source is infinite. And source wants to give you what it is that you really want, but you've got to know what it is that you really want. You have to know first. Source is like, I'm gonna give you whatever you want. I'm gonna give you whatever you're a vibrational match to, pretty much. Not just what you want, but like whatever you're a vibrational match to. And because I set the intention for this particular amount, I became the vibrational match for that particular amount. And that's what I got. Yeah. But I set a new intention and I ended up getting what I wanted anyway. So and that's what we continue to do. It's like whenever you have those moments, it sucks for a second. And then you realize, you know what? Whenever I'm ready to set a new intention, that is when I will become a vibrational match to that intention and I will get what it is that I want, what it is that I'm looking for. Moving on, one more little game that I like to play with myself. Number 3 is I love to play the lottery. Listen, what the old folks say, you can't win if you don't play. But like my idea of playing the lottery goes a little something like this. Of course, I go and I buy tickets, and that's cool. Like I play scratch offs. Scratch offs just make me happy. Like honestly, I really don't even play with the intention to win a scratch off. I should probably put way more intention into it because I'm spending my money. But like just scratching off in like the game of luck is just kind of fun to me. So I do it for fun. But when it comes to like Powerball and stuff like that, and I haven't manifested it yet, child, I might just be a lucky winner right now. But I like to play the lottery, but a lot of times it's just like a energetic game that I like to play with myself. So let's say the Powerball is up to like $1.6 million or whatever, or 22 million. I don't know. $22 million. I go and I take that amount and then I figure out how I'm going to spend it down to the last dollar, down to the last cent. So I will go and I like try to take out how much money is probably gonna have to go to taxes. And then I take out the amount of money that is gonna have to go to a charitable foundation, whether it's your tithes or whatever it is that you want to give your money to. And then from there, I go through all of the things like what does the highest version of Neira want to do? If the highest version of Neira was given $22 million, whether it came from the lottery or whatever, what would I actually spend that money on? And this is why a lot of lottery winners, even lottery winners that practice the law of attraction and all of that stuff, why they attract the money, but they end up losing the money because there's no real intent put behind how the money should be divvied up, saved, whatever. So I will like have money that goes to my savings, have money that goes to like Roth IRAs. I have money that goes towards like all of my debt, have money that goes towards things that I want to buy, other things that I want to invest in, properties, whatever. Like, and this just gets me so excited because the reality is, and I'm going to always say this, we live in an abundant universe. There is nothing that is out there that we think about that has not been created for us to have. It is really all for us. So, in a perfect world, at your highest vibration, at your highest self, what is it that you really want? If you ask anyone, if you ask 10 people, 10 random people today, if I were to give you $22 million, what do you think you would spend it on? People would give you the most basic ass answers. I would pay all my debt off, or I'm gonna buy me a boat. I'm gonna buy me a car. What kind of boat? What kind of car? What kind of year is it? What kind of interior does it have? Like, really, you gotta play this game. This is why I like using these manifestation tools and techniques because it's like you get to live and play in your imagination. As an adult, imaginative play is not even spoken about. I was going to say it's not suggested enough, but the reality is it's not even spoken about at all. at all. But the imagination and the intuition are two of the imagination, the intuition, and the will are the three higher mental faculties of the mind. And if you want to learn more about it, make sure you go to the link in these show notes and sign up for the next launch of the Manifest with Nee digital course. And I go into all of the specifics around that. But back to the imagination. We are not encouraged enough as an adult to play in our imagination, but it is from the imagination that we do receive the spiritual downloads or the desire from source, from God, to even want to have other things or do other things or be other versions of ourselves. And it is important that we take time out to play there as much as possible, because that is where you grab from the spiritual world to be able to bring forth into the physical realm. But if you're not playing there enough, then you're literally just grabbing from what currently surrounds you. And if you're grabbing from what currently surrounds you, then you're only bringing forth more of what you already have. So if that is lack and limitation, if that is my bills are always late, if that is all of my relationships seem to fail, if that is I'm not worthy or I'm not confident enough, then that is what you're going to see more of. But if you take some time out to play in your imagination and you see yourself as a person that every relationship I have is prosperous, there are opportunities all around me. And when opportunities present themselves to me, I know to reach and grab them, and I know not to self sabotage myself. You understand that you have all of your debt paid off and all of your bills are paid on time in full, and your kids are happy, and whatever the case may be. So this is just a way of you getting more into the vibrational alignment with your higher self and the things that you say that you really desire. You got to play there. You got to live there. You know, if it is for you to be a serial entrepreneur and business owner, then you have to start imagining and thinking about what that type of person does. And when you start imagining and thinking about what that looks like for you, then you go and figure out what that person does on a day to day. You start studying other successful serial entrepreneurs. You start studying their habits and what they do. And after you start studying what they do, then you figure out what pieces of what they do can you start implementing in your life today. Once you start figuring out what it is that you can start implementing in your life today, you work on that. You work on that every fucking day, and you get great at those things. And before you know it, everything else in your physical world is going to start to conspire to the divinely aligned action that you're beginning to take to be that highest version of yourself. But it all starts with imaginative play. So, after you listen to this podcast episode, I'm going to encourage you to take 20 minutes, set a timer on your phone. Take about 20, 30 minutes, and we'll just use the number 22 million. We'll use the number 22 million. And I want you to take 20, 30 minutes out of your day, out of your week, and just sit down and think about if you had to win the lottery for 22 million, what is it that you would spend the money on? And I promise you, it's actually harder than you even realize, because you're going to realize just how much you're not thinking about what you actually want. You're going to realize how often you think about the things that you don't want in comparison to the things that you actually do want. When we can start to create that habit of thinking more about what it is that we want, we can become super manifestors. Like, we can literally manifest things as soon as we think about it. So take time to play in your imagination. Take time to visualize. Listen, if you decide to make an energetic bank deposit, please make sure you screenshot it and share it with me on Instagram. It would totally make my day. Always know I'm standing and believing in whatever it is that you want to manifest into your life too, as I hope you are standing in belief with the things that I want to manifest into my life. And we go be some manifesting cousins together. Lord, thank y'all so much for listening to the podcast episode week after week. And before I go, I want to give a major shout out to my girl Diana, who is a part of the Manifest with Me High Vibe Tribe. She launched her billboard for her business, and I think that is so awesome. I'm sure it's one of those things that she had been wanting to manifest for herself too. So claps to you, Diana. Shout out to you. You guys go follow her on Instagram. She is divine. Her Instagram is Divine Pearls Medium. So if you're interested in a love reading or you're looking to connect with any of your loved ones that have passed on to the other side, she is a medium and she would be so happy to usher you into those experiences. I will link her Instagram in the show notes of this. And I'm so happy. Again, thank you guys for listening. Make sure that you give this episode a rating, leave me a comment, share it on your social media, share it with your friends. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any questions or any topics that you'd like me to discuss, please don't hesitate to leave a comment or send me a DM on Instagram. Peace, love, and light to you. Always remember what you are seeking is seeking you too. Happy manifesting.